I was kidnapped and the robbers called my dad on my cell phone and asked for $500. I couldn't help but interject. How about more? How about 5 million? A robber hesitated. I don't want that much. I sighed. The market price you do not know. When what robbers? The robber is a little weak, the first time. Inexperienced. Brothers. Rob the wrong person. My father is the head of the triad in this area. And I am his only baby girl. When I woke up, the man in front of me was wearing a black mask, revealing only a pair of not-so-smart eyes. He held my cell phone in his hand and asked gruffly, "What's the password?" 6,289. I said honestly. In fact, I specifically wanted to tell him that it would unlock faster with my face. Surveying the surroundings and the ropes on my body, I realized that I should have been kidnapped. In this the brightly lit cement factory building. The robber went through half a dozen address books and found my father's number and also secretly mumbled the lines before dialing the phone. Your daughter is now in my hands. Bring $500,000 to ransom. I can't help but interject on the side. How about more? 5 million? The robber hesitated. Would that be too much? I didn't want that much, it's okay. My dad has a lot of money. After hanging up the phone, I sighed. The market price you don't know. What, you as a robber? The robber looked at me sheepishly. His voice was so small that I almost couldn't hear it. The first time inexperienced. TSK, big brother. Who you rob is not good. You rob me. My dad is the gang leader in this area. And I'm his only precious daughter. He himself shouldn't have imagined that there are actually those who dare to kidnap me. My cell phone is equipped with global GPS positioning. I guess this time is bringing people over. I sat on the concrete floor with the robbers to get close to. Brother. Which line is not good to do? You have to do this line. The robber sat across from me. He picked up a side of beer to drink a mouthful, only to find himself wearing a mask. Think again and again. He took it off, tilted his neck and poured a big mouthful. Old sister, ah. Big brother also do not want to do ah. Big brother does not look too smart. Look is good looking. Thick eyebrows and big eyes. Young Time is certainly a big handsome man. I haven't said anything yet. Big brother first cried. Under the big brother's crying, I understand the original story. His wife ran away, rolled up all his savings and left him a son with congenital heart disease. The son is very understanding, but also more precocious. High school, in order to reduce the burden on the family, has begun to work part-time. He did well in the college entrance exams, but his heart problem has worsened, and he needs money for an operation. Big brother is desperate. There is no way out. Can borrow all borrowed. Cannot come up with. In the end, he can only take the road of no return. Old sister. This money as uncle asked you to borrow. Leo through this. In the future, uncle will definitely give you the money. The door of the factory was kicked open. My father brought a bunch of people. Fierce and vicious. But came in and found that I was not only safe and sound, but also in the comfort of the side of the crying robbers. He was quite speechless. Don't worry, uncle. I borrowed this money. After going back, my father pointed at my nose and scolded. How did I raise you such a loser daughter? I curry favor and go over to hug his neck. My dear father. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Uncle is so poor. His son is also poor. The college entrance exam results are so good. Maybe even the future hope of the motherland. Don't you like to sponsor college students? I'm learning from you. My father glared at me. Money can be borrowed. But this blind date you must give me to go. I originally smiled like a flower face immediately pulled down. I really don't understand. I'm only 23 years old. Why my father had to let me go on a blind date? The guy is a hooligan. What hooligan? That's your George's son. George and my dad were good friends. But Jason and I were always at odds. In the end, I didn't have to argue with my dad. So I went anyway. Kin family villa. Jason's stilted legs sitting on the sofa. Left and right each embrace a girl. A short hair beautiful. A long hair warm. Fiona. Jason opened the door. I'm not going to get engaged to you. Don't be delusional. The short-haired girl covered her mouth and laughed. Her eyes full of contempt. Reaching out, and sending a grape into Jason's mouth. He raised one eyebrow high and took it affectionately with his mouth. Looking at me with extra provocative eyes. I walked over to him. Glanced at the grapes on the table. And asked. You like grapes a lot? Then you eat them all. After saying that, I copied the whole plate of grapes and poured it over his head. The grapes were freshly washed and still had water droplets. The two girls screamed and hid away. Jason's expression was as ugly as if he had eaten shit. He popped out my name from between his teeth. Almost word for word, Fiona. His forehead veins rippled and his chest heaved. Numbed by my anger. Come to think of it. When has he ever been so aggravated his entire life? The girls and a group of servants were scared to utter a single breath. I smiled slightly. Elegantly sitting on the other side of the sofa. What guidance? Dogs. Dating place booking his own home. But also left and right embrace to me to see. Diaphragm who? You aunting me is a vegetarian growing up? Jason yelled at them to roll. The crowd rolled nonstop. I took a sip of the hot tea that had just been served. Yo. Is this the quality of young masterkin? Jason's eyes are almost spitting fire. He should be very angry. His voice has become a little sharp. Fiona. You're just here to find pain today. Right? My head nodded fast. Yes. What can you do? You don't think I don't hit women? He gritted his teeth. You can try. The words just fell. He swung his fist and rushed over. This guy actually really fight with women? I didn't get used to it. I turned my palm into a fist and gave him a solid punch on the right side of his face. To be honest, Jason is not a good fighter. But he can't hold back his strength. So it was a 55-50 split between the two of us. In the end, George pulled us apart. I had a bruise on my face. And Jason wasn't much better. His face was bruised and swollen. I didn't dare to go home directly. I went to the hospital to get some medicine. I didn't expect to run into the robber uncle. Uncle at first froze. And then quickly rushed over to hold my hand. Big sister. How are you beaten? Who hit you? I was embarrassed and turned my face away. I accidentally fell. Uncle? Why are you here? My son was hospitalized. Then the uncle dragged me to see his son. My son is really handsome. Sister, you believe me. The teenager on the hospital bed has a fair face. Delicate features. And his appearance is really outstanding. That is. His lips are a little white. And he looks very weak. Looking at a bowl of cold white rice porridge on the bedside table. I didn't say a word and commanded my little brother to buy some supplements and fresh fruit. Uncle cried again. This time moved. During the time I was comforting the uncle, the teenager woke up. The uncle took my hand to the bedside and introduced to his son. This is the man who saved your life. Called? I smiled. Just call me Ruru. Uncle grinned. You Ruru sister. Come on. Get up and kowtow. Silence. Is tonight skinky ow? The teenager finally whispered his thanks. My name is Leo. Thank you Ruru sister. His voice is low and pleasant. Is not belong to this age of old. Outside the window. The sun shines brightly. Shining on the soft tips of the teenager's hair. And I did not expect. A moment of weakness. Actually really saved a person. Leo promised that the money will definitely return to me. And gave me a loan note. He just graduated from high school. 500. Zero have to pay back how long? I did not take it seriously. When I went to a nightclub with my sisters, I ran into Leo, who was working as a waiter, and he was stopped by two girls. It wouldn't kill me to give him my contact info. Yeah, handsome. We've been here for you many times. Leo's brows were slightly furrowed. He said he was just a waiter. He didn't do any special services. The two girls were cheeky. It's okay to do it once. You'll fall in love if you do it once. The teenager's face burned for a moment. I sighed and walked over to the girl and clamped her hand on his face. You guys are playing so fancy. Does Jason know about this? Both girls were familiar faces. Jason's pal friends. After the girls left, I signaled Leo to follow me to the box. Shirley bumped my arm. Who is this little brother? Since when did you start eating the young ones? I rolled my eyes. Fuck off. Leo stood by in a formal manner. And Shirley exited the box with a sense of humor. You do this. Does your father know? I asked. He knows. Is it to pay me back as soon as possible? Yes. I can't help but want to flirt with him. Then you should do special services. It's faster to get money. Leo's ears are red again. Roo. I'm not here to sell my body. I took a sip of wine. Spend $500,000. I once okay? He was even more mortified. Even with the dim lighting, I could catch a glimpse of his red, blood-dripping face. So I saw the good thing and laughed. Teasing you. The money is not urgent. You now go to college first. And then pay me back later when you can afford it. The door of the box was suddenly kicked open at this moment. And Jason swaggered in, bringing the two girls with him just now. And went to Sue? Yo, Fiona. When did you change to eat young grass? The tone of voice is extremely bitchy. If you have something to say, then get lost. I'm not polite. Jason's eyes up a few eyes Leo. Aside from the girl sat on his but next to me. His left hand on my left shoulder. Resting his head on my right shoulder. Look ambiguous. I'm here to remind you. Our two families are getting engaged. You don't want to get some disease. Then infected to me. I frowned. What engagement? I agreed to get engaged. In a few days ready to discuss the day with your father. His eyes died with a smile. Suddenly feel. With you engaged is also quite interesting. You hate me. Right? I want you to see me every day in the future. Teeth clenched cackling. The next second round up the table bottle of wine ruthlessly smashed to his head. I engaged you MB. The bottle instantly fell apart. And a stream of blood dripped from Jason's head. Outside the door rushed in some people. The scene instantly became very chaotic. The crowd of hands and feet to send Jason to the hospital. Shirley gave me a thumbs up. Also followed behind. I went to the restroom to wash my hands. And when I came out, I leaned against the window of the corridor and smoked a cigarette. Leo stood behind me silently. Off duty? I asked. He had changed back into his normal casual clothes. And his whole body was so clean that it didn't fit in with the place. Halfway through my cigarette, he said, Don't get engaged to someone like that. There was a pause. And then a sentence. He's not worthy. I turned around. Leo is extremely serious look. I don't feel a little funny. I'm not the good guy you think I am either. You are. He was stubborn. I turned my head and took another hard draw. Life in the world. A lot of body cannot help. For example, the marriage with the Kin family is probably the nail in the coffin. Otherwise Jason would not have said that. Although my father favors me. But in this matter, he has been very resolute, insisting on not letting go. Recently, Jason has been running to my house especially often. If he wants to. My dad will not ask me about my wishes. I don't understand why my dad wants me to get engaged to the Kin family. It's not like our family is short of money. What does he want? Can't we change someone else? Leo suddenly asked. Change who? I wondered. The night breeze suddenly rose. And the cigarette at my fingertips burned out. I heard a low and deep voice behind me. I knocked Jason into the hospital. He got 2 stitches. My dad was furious. I kneeled straight under the dim crystal chandelier. Sooner or later I'm going to be pissed off at you. I just don't want to get engaged to that Jason guy. Even if you beat me to death. I won't marry. My dad pointed at me. What's wrong with the Kin family? The family is big and Jason is a jerk. But he promised me that he would never screw around after the engagement. And he listens to you. So what are you not satisfied with? I can earn my own money. I have my own house. What is it about him that makes me happy? I'm not convinced. My dad threw a teacup over and rubbed it across my face, rubbing out a little blood. It seems to be really angry. This is his favorite cup. I didn't dare talk back to him again. I was afraid he'd pass without taking a breath. I stood up and ran to him to smooth his breath. Don't be angry. I was wrong. My dad stared at me with a blank stare. And it took him half a day to get over it. You have to get me into this marriage. Dad, is our family short of money these days? Why on earth do you have to tie me to Jason? I was so reluctant. Roo. I'm doing this for your own good. I won't hurt you. You're 23 years old. It's time for you to have a home. I slowly rubbed his shoulders, knowing that he was determined for me to marry Jason. And my heart suddenly moved, remembering the gentle, clean eyes of the young man. I'm not sure if I can find someone else. But I'm sure I can find someone else. Who? How about Leo? Who is Leo? My dad looked puzzled. And after sending someone to investigate, he wanted to smack me again. How can you do that to a newborn kid? I'll smack you to death. In the end, my dad didn't beat me to death because I promised him to go to the hospital to sympathize with Jason and cultivate a relationship. In the hospital. Jason, that guy really hospitalized, also restless. I pushed open the door of the ward, simply want to self-blind eyes. Jason sank his eyes and looked at me with displeasure. What are you doing here? The girl on his body half-assertively set the clothes, flying like a flea out. I slammed the fruit basket on top of him. And he let out a breath of cold air. Fiona, you're going too far. I looked at him with a smile on my face. Chin Shao. You're getting engaged. And you're still playing around like this. Aren't you afraid that I'll chop that thing up for you down there? You dare. To be honest, I don't dare. But I have to pretend. Have you forgotten who my father is? How did you promise him? Jason put on the bedside of the fist clenched dead tight. He snorted coldly. What the hell are you doing here today? I'm here to offer my condolences. And to ask you to cancel your engagement. Speaking of which, he seemed to be energized again. A gentleman's word. A team of horses can't catch up with you, haven't heard of it? I narrowed my eyes and raised my foot to kick the hospital bed hard. Jason smiled instead of being angry. Fiona, I love seeing you look like you can't stand me, but you can't do anything about it. Why didn't I send him straight to hell with a bottle? What a mistake. When I'm not happy, I like to go car racing. That kind of extreme sport makes my heart beat faster and makes me feel happy. After racing, I saw a slim and familiar figure on the side of the road. Leo. And I parked my car beside him and rolled down the window. Where are you going? I asked. Home. I waved my hand. Get in the car. Sister send you. He stood in place for a long time, but finally got into the car honestly. What do you think of my proposal last time? Halfway through the car, he suddenly opened his mouth. I forgot about it. Leo, what do you want from me? Money? People? Or feelings? I'm very confused. Quiet, narrow carriage. He was silent for a long time. Just when I thought he would not answer, he said softly, I count this life you give. My father from childhood let me know the kindness. I don't want you because of marriage and their own dislike of people to live a life. With me, you won't be anything constraints. If there is really no choice, I hope that person is me. At least, the rest of your life can be happy. Happy. Naive. Too naive. I looked at him sideways, just because of repaying the favor. Without a little bit of liking or heart? He brushed his head away. His tone hard. One no. But I clearly saw his reddened ears. And slightly curled tight hand. I know Leo's family should be quite poor. But I did not expect so poor. A piece of old flat building area. His home in a small alley at the very end. The alley is humid and there is no street light. only through the moonlight vaguely recognized. I am not familiar with the road. Turned on the flashlight of the phone to follow him to walk extremely seriously. He suddenly stopped walking, and then kept staring at my shoes. What's wrong? I inquired. Leo lowered his eyes and his voice was muffled. The shoes are dirty. I was wearing a pair of cream-colored canvas shoes today, and I threw off some mud spots, which stood out on the white upper. Just go back and wash them. I didn't care. Leo didn't say a word, and in the next instant his right arm went around my waist and picked me up in a crossbody hug. This is a bad road. Dirty and damp. I'll carry you. I was just about to say that men and women are not related, when he softly picked up again. I'm offended. Sister Ruru. If I say more, it will look like I don't know what I'm talking about. The alley isn't long, just a short stretch of road, and my face feels like it's on fire. It's been a long time since I've been this close to a boy. Playing is playing. Fooling around is fooling around. Sis never jokes about sincerity. But the one touch of the waist like a vine wrapped around the tip of the heart. Crazy. To the bottom of the human heart to drill. Called the heart itch. Leo's home is very small. 2 rooms. A living room is almost as big as the room. The kitchen is separated from the living room and is so small that only one person can stand in it. After 26 years. I can't imagine anyone living in a place like this. Leo stood to the side in embarrassment, pointing to the only couch in the living room and gesturing for me to sit. The couch was old, but quite clean. Want some water? He asked. 2 seconds later, he lowered his eyes, seeming a bit embarrassed. But there is only boiled cold white water. No drinking water. It's just water. It's not different. I said. Leo raised his head, eyes clear and slightly bright. Quickly went to the kitchen to pour me a glass of water. It tastes a little different, but not by much. How many years have you lived here? I searched for a topic. Leo recalled for a few minutes before slowly saying, 15 years. Your mom ran off with someone else when she was 3? The words asked out of my mouth before I felt inappropriate. Leo did not care. He pursed up his lips and smiled lightly. No. I was not even a year old before she ran away. She is young and good-looking. When married to my father is also considered a woman. But after I gave birth to me, she realized that she did not want to be a mother. She realized she didn't want to be a mother at all. She hadn't had enough fun. She wanted to be free. So she left. Did you hate her? No. Leo's voice is soft. Why should I bother hating someone who's no relation to me? I didn't realize that uncle didn't look like much. But he taught his son to be sensible and know right from wrong. Just when I wanted to compliment him, Leo took out a wad of money from his bag and handed it to me. I will start school soon. I can't do part-time work in the future. I'll pay you back 10,000 first. And I'll pay back the rest slowly. I didn't take it. Backhanded away from his desk phone. Transferred 20,000 to him in the past. Leo, from today onwards, I package you for years of college tuition. After graduation, you come to help me take care of the company. I smiled, the kind that doesn't pay wages. Leo clear and translucent eyes gradually deep. A long time. He gently answered, good. Jason discharged the day. My father forced me to pick up his home for dinner. After the meal, he called us both to the study to discuss the engagement. This time I unprecedentedly didn't refuse. My dad thought I had changed my mind and his eyes narrowed into a smile. Jason promised to take good care of me, but tickled a smile of utter contempt where my dad couldn't see it. I admired my newly done nails and thought about how I was going to make a fool out of him with the engagement party drama. The date of the engagement banquet was quickly arranged, and the entire capital circle almost knew that our family was getting engaged to the Kin family. His family has power. My family is rich. From now on, black and white will be all over the place. And even dogs will have to be kicked in the face. Shirley asked me if I was crazy to get engaged to Jason, and I joked that he wasn't that bad. After saying this, Shirley's eyes looked behind me. She looked at the posture of a good show. Ah. Love debt is coming. I turned back. Leo quietly stood there. Dark eyes did not see half a ripple. Shirley's bar only brought him once. I did not expect him to remember quite good. Shirley is the only one who has ever been to the same place. And she is the only one who has ever been to the same place. And she is the only one who has ever been to the same place. After Shirley left, I waved to Leo to come over. He obediently came over and stood quietly beside me. I shook my glass and asked him if he wanted to drink. He shook his head and asked me softly, "Do you really want to get engaged to him?" He lowered his eyes, covering the despondency in the bottom of his eyes. Then, "Congratulations." Finished. He took my table, poured wine. A drink. Then he coughed violently. His eyes coughed red. But the corner of his mouth was raised. Happy engagement. My heart suddenly became upset. I grabbed Leo's hand. Slightly forcefully dragged him down on the sofa. I don't like him. This wedding reception is a farce. A play I invited him to watch. Though I didn't understand why I had to explain it to him. When Shirley asked, I just brushed it off as a joke. But then I saw the teenager's steeply lit eyes. And I thought, it doesn't matter. He whispered something. It was too noisy around. I didn't hear it. I came closer. "What did you say?" I said. "So does sister like me?" He repeated. Then lowered his eyes and slowly dropped a kiss on the corner of my mouth. I froze in place. I thought I must be drunk. I wasn't. It was him who was drunk. On the day of the engagement party, most of the people from the capital circle came. The blessing was fake. The relationship was real. I think the only person who is really happy is my father. He showed a big tooth. See anyone smiling? I'm too lazy to fake a smile. Sitting alone in the corner sipping a mulled wine. But there are people who make me not as happy as I want to be. To chew on the back of the tongue was heard by me. Fiona is also lucky to be able to marry into the Kin family. The Kin family has a head and a face. And I don't know what the Fu family is based on. It's a bit of a reach. I'm afraid she's forgotten how the Fin family got started. And it's even more impressive that she's climbed into the Kin family. I don't know what young Master Kin thinks. I see that he doesn't raise scars or pick up girls lately. Has he really changed his mind? Why? A thin voice rang out. What kind of person is young Master Kin? You still don't know? I guess this Fiona is good in bed. I couldn't listen to any more. I stood up and picked up the red wine on the table, found the woman who just said that my kung fu was excellent, and poured the whole bottle over her head. The red wine snaked down her clothes. So it was a mess. The sound of her screaming drew a crowd of people from all over the hall. I threw away the empty bottle. Eyes full of contempt. What are you? Also dare to judge me? Jason came over and asked me what was going on. The woman put away her gnashing teeth and put on a pathetic look. Hiding behind Jason, Kinshao, I didn't say anything. And Ms. Fu splashed me all over the wine. Jason turned his head to look at me. His eyebrows slightly wrinkled. This kind of bullshit can only fool people like Jason, who is full of women and shit. Jason didn't say anything. And everyone waited with bated breath to see how this verse would end. It was only when George came out and spoke that the crowd dispersed. Jason whispered in my ear. Threatening. Today there are a lot of people. You do not net me a thing. I nodded my head obediently and almost laughed out loud in my heart. I haven't even delivered my big gift yet. Brother. Just as the engagement ceremony was about to begin, the door to the front hall was pushed open and a girl with a big belly walked in. With tears streaming down her face, she asked Jason, word for word, "Are you trying to abandon me?" Or, she touched her stomach, "You can even not want your own son?" The whole audience was in an uproar. Jason's raw innings is almost known in the circle. But being abandoned after pregnancy and looking for his engagement site, this is the first time. What are you so mad about? Jason glared at her. The girl could barely stand up, so all that talk about marrying me in the first place was a lie? Jason's face went white and white. And as the crowd was engrossed in eating, George's cane swept hard into Jason's leg. Bastard. Then he called for the girls to be pulled down and apologized on stage. This is all a misunderstanding. Since the engagement day came down, we Jason have not been out much. Today is the big day. Don't let these misunderstandings spoil the fun. He faced my father. I think it's better to finish the ceremony first. What do the in-laws think? A mouthful of an in-laws. Not yet booked. I rolled my eyes. My dad pondered for a moment. Good things come in small packages. We are not in a hurry. Kind old brother might as well take care of good personal matters first. The banquet broke up unhappily. And this has become the laughing stock of the circle. My dad did not come out of the study for a few days and, after Jason was discharged from the hospital, George invited our family to dinner. At the dinner table, George expressed his apologies. My dad cold face unimpressed. In-laws? I asked later. That girl is a malicious arrangement. I also gave her a sum of money. She promised to get rid of the child. And will not have anything to do with Jason in the future. You see this banquet when we make up for a? My father was silent for a long time. Don't make up for it. It's our family Ruru can't reach. George's face was pulled down at that time. He glared viciously at Jason. Jason did not dare to eat the meal. Sat upright. I picked at the green vegetables in the bowl, hiding the smile at the corner of my mouth. The people were arranged by me. I invited everyone to watch the play. My dad had known that Jason had a bad reputation and played with flowers. Originally, he turned a blind eye and let it go. But now that people are shitting on his head, how can he bear it? Out of the Tin family villa. My mood is incredibly good. My father slanted me a glance. Your 3 intestines and 5 tendons. Not I give you wipe your ass. Early by your George check. When did you know? I'm a little weak. You're my daughter. What don't I know about you? Forget it. He sighed. Don't bother. I threw my arms around his neck and gave him a big kiss on the face. You're the best. Instead of going back with him, I called a cab and went to Leo's college. He would have just gotten off the field. In his jersey. Sweaty. He came running. The corners of his shirt flapping in the wind. His eyebrows and eyes all smiling. Bright and clean. What are you doing here? The tone of his voice was full of surprise. I reached out for him to wipe off the sweat on his forehead. The evening to leave time out. I invite you to eat a big meal. Leo bent his eyes. Good. I'll wait for you. I didn't wait. My dad had a car accident on his way home. When the ambulance arrived, he was already dead. When I heard the news, I was in Shirley's bar. My eyes suddenly black. I almost could not stand up. Great grief suddenly swept over me. My mouth was open and I couldn't make a sound. By the time I got to the hospital, I hadn't even seen the last of him. He was covered with a white cloth and placed in the morgue. Through the glass, I cried without a sound. The heart felt like it had been pinched into broken glass by someone, and the huge stone will slowly crushed it with pain and blood. I kept regretting, feeling guilty. Why I didn't go back with him. It was as if the crash had been deliberately orchestrated. The driver had crashed into it with the determination of certain death, not leaving himself any way back. I scarlet my eyes and clenched my teeth. Cha! I ordered Uncle You. I stayed in my dad's room for 2 days. And on the 3rd day I didn't hold on and passed out. I had just woken up when Leo called. I hung up on him. But I heard the nanny's voice. Missy. There is a young man outside who keeps calling your name. The wind was howling and pouring outside the house. Was Leo out of his mind? I put on a jacket and went downstairs. Outside the front door, Leo was soaked to the skin. And he stood in the pouring rain, looking at me with a heavy gaze. Looking at each other for a long time. Leo sighed softly and came over to me and took me into his arms. Are you okay? One word that made me collapse. I dropped my umbrella and bawled in the pouring rain. Leo, I don't have a dad anymore. I don't have a dad anymore. Those sadness and depression were drawn out from the bone marrow little by little, pressing me hard to breathe. Leo's hand tight and more. The teenager's thin body. Hot embrace. In this cold, rainy night. It became the only thing that could give me comfort and make me feel warm. The memory behind is blurry. I vaguely remember Leo carrying me into the villa. The nanny making the call. And hearing the sound of 120 immediately afterward. Then I saw my dad. He was the spunky young man he'd been when he was young, sitting on a roller coaster laughing and asking if I wanted to join him. I ran over to him and happily held out my hand when I heard someone behind me call my name. Fiona. It was a teenager I didn't recognize. He was quite good-looking. Very thin. The wind was blowing his shirt bulging. And his brow was filled with worry. In the few seconds I hesitated. The roller coaster opened. My dad's figure gradually disappeared at the end. And a soft sigh came from him in the wind. Roo. Be good. When I woke up, I saw a snow-white ceiling, and a pair of hands gently brushed away the tears at the corners of my eyes. It was Leo. I think I have a fever. My head was dizzy. I'd gotten caught in a downpour. And I'd cried my voice out. A nanny brought me cooked millet porridge. And Leo sat on the edge of the bed and carefully fed me one bite at a time. His bangs are softly resting on his forehead. And he looks very good. Leo, I hoarsely called out to him. He raised his eyes. I said, don't ever come back to me again. The hospital room became exceptionally quiet. Only the sound of the curtains being blown by the wind. He lowered his eyes. The knot in his throat rolled. His eyelashes fluttered lightly. The fingers pinching the spoon whitened. You really? Don't you want me? As if my throat was blocked by something. I couldn't say a word. Shirley pushed the door in. Leo stubbornly sat, staring at my eyes. After calming the raging and emotions inside, I raised my head and looked at him. Yes. I don't want you anymore. The voice seemed to quench. The emotion in the bottom of his eyes violently trembled. His eyes gradually reddened. And finally pursed his lips. Hard to squeeze out a word. Good. Leo left. Shirley covered my hand. Do not regret? I lowered my eyes, converging all the emotions in the bottom of my eyes. I have no regrets. On the day of the funeral, it was cloudy and rainy. I stood in front of my father's monument in a black dress. There was no division of property. He left everything to me. The sky was gray, like my heart. I let go of my umbrella and let the cold rainwater hit my face and body randomly. It was a kind of coldness that soaked into my limbs and bones. Shirley tilted her umbrella to my side. I looked at her with red eyes. And I saw my own eyes in her pupils. Inside were boundless sadness and silence. My dad's death was not an accident. It was man-made. The Kin family had long coveted our family's property. And when my dad proposed a marriage, Jason was reluctant. But due to his dad's lechery, he could only obey in the end. That's why he agreed to the engagement in the first place. Even though he obviously hated me so much. By mistake. I had just wanted to make a fool out of Jason by inviting the pregnant girl. Who knew it had disrupted their innings? They went to great lengths to hide this. Just wanting to get the marriage booked quickly also caught my dad's attention. The days he locked himself in his study, he was actually checking on the Kin family. On the surface, they seemed to be in a great position. But behind the scenes, they had long been in decline, and desperately needed to use my family's power to stabilize their own family's deficit. This is a fire pit. Of course. My father does not want me to jump. I didn't expect the Kin family to do nothing, but actually wanted directly from a car accident results of us. The banquet was not a happy ending, but many people also witnessed that we and the Kin family had the intention of marriage. Once my father and I died, we had no other family members and no will. His Kin family, relying on the good relationship with my family, and once almost engaged, is to seize your property. The Beijing circle, how many people dared to come out to gossip? Unfortunately, I didn't realize that I didn't get in the car. When Uncle Yu told me what he found out, I only felt the hatred in my heart almost fall into madness. I must make them pay. I spent for years to completely monopolize all the Kin family's industries and hollowed them out into an empty shell. When Jason came back to me, he had long since lost his lofty position. He was like a lost dog, humbly begging me to give them a way out. I used my fingers to pinch the unlit cigarette. Mockingly looked at him. What are you qualified to beg me? Jason slowly knelt down, his voice trembling. Please. Chest in unwarranted anger was ignited. Obviously they coveted my family property in the first, harmed my father in the back, and now actually in the capacity of the victim. Pity humbly begged me. On what grounds? When you guys faked the car accident, did you have an ounce of compassion to give us a way out? Jason's eyes snapped wide and his hand hanging at his side trembled slightly. Now you know you're scared? It's too late. The law will judge them. And I am responsible for sending them to the police station. On the day the Kin family's father and son were ambushed, I told Shirley about all this, and she gave me a heartfelt hug. I can understand you wanting to take revenge. But why did you leave Leo out of it in the first place? It's not like he's going to get in your way. My throat tight and slightly at the sound of the name. Leo. I smiled. He is clean and bright. This road is dark and gloomy. I can walk by myself is shaky. How can I let him beside me? Teenagers. They should be the unrestrained wind. I can walk this road alone. The wind blows from afar and passes by. On my 27th birthday, I sings in Pacey as Amen thinking of a man at Shirley's Clear Bar. When my eyes touched a familiar thin figure on the stage, the song came to an abrupt end. Stopping at the line, "The person thinks about a person," in the corner booth. I looked at the boy in front of me. He has long since changed from the scrawny teenager I remember. He grew a little taller. His shoulders are also much broader. Over the precipitation of the years and the flow of time, the original clean and flamboyant teenager has become more calm, introverted. The only constant is that pair of eyes. When he looked at me, always with warmth. How are you doing? I first broke the silence. Leo nodded. Thanks to your blessing. Did not lack a penny. So did not go to part-time jobs. The completion of the school is very successful. Well, I forgot. I also gave him $20. I'm sorry. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. Did you find a job? I'm still looking for a job. But I seem to remember someone saying that she'd let me work for her company for free after graduation. I think she did. It's a joke. Don't take it seriously. I snorted. Leo's eyes sank. I took it seriously. The fingertips slightly pause. The withered vines at the bottom of the heart suddenly came to life and began to grow like crazy. Shirley timely sent a bottle of wine. Bold drink. Today's consumption by this lady to pay the bill. I poured a glass and handed it to him. Drink? He didn't say anything, just stared at me. I poured another glass and drank half of it myself, muttering, "It's quite good. Don't you want to try?" Leo took my cup and put it down, and then leaned over and wrapped his arms around my waist, covering my lips. A slapdash like a kiss. I have been silent for 4 years of the heart of the lake. White being thrown a big stone. Flooded with waves. A circle and a circle. Good drink, he said. The voice was low and slow, with a deadly compulsion and sensuality. I must have been drunk. Otherwise how could I have taken the initiative to embrace his neck and recovered his lips? Warm, with a hint of wine flavor. It was intoxicating and dizzying. Teenage affection was hot and steamy, landing on the tip of my 23-year-old heart. On my 27th birthday, it came screaming and sweeping toward me once again, and I couldn't escape or avoid it. Shirley later told me that in these 4 years, Leo was always prying into her for news about me. Good, bad, sad, happy. At first I thought he was looking at your money, but later I realized that he should really like you. Do you still remember? 2 years ago, your company's stock plummeted. You were hospitalized in a rage. And Leo took care of you on the first night. 2 years ago. The stock turmoil made the company panic. I did not sleep for a few days. And finally fainted and hospitalized. I was restless in my dreams. And I vaguely remember someone gently patting my hand for the whole night. At the break of dawn, a kiss was gently dropped on my forehead. I struggled to open my eyes. But all I could see was someone whose back looked a lot like Leo. For a moment I thought I was crazy. I didn't realize it was really him, who stayed with me all night. I have given you 2 gifts on your birthday all these years. Beautifully described as a gift for your father. And in fact they are both from Leo. Roo. Shirley hugged my shoulder. If you can end up with Leo, it is also quite good. On my 28th birthday, I took Leo to my dad's grave. It seemed like every time I came to see my dad, it was always drizzling. I knelt in front of the monument and stroked the black and white photo on it. And whispered, "Dad, I'm getting married. To Leo. That's the one you're talking about. The little kid who just came of age. He is now able to stand on his own. Like you did. And hold up the sky for me. Dad. Come to my dreams tonight. I miss you." Leo bowed deeply and then held his umbrella ready to take my hand and leave. The rain suddenly stopped and the sunlight rushed out, gilding the tombstones with a golden edge. I was stunned in place for a long time, tears rolling down silently. "He must have heard me," I said. Leo gently wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes. "Well, he must have heard it.